So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brenda Ross Doolin. I'm the chair of the board of the Princeton Mercer Regional Chamber. It is such a pleasure to be with you virtually and a thrill for me to welcome you to the Chamber's monthly membership luncheon. At this luncheon, we take the time to thank our members and to welcome our new members. Your membership is evidence of your trust in our ability to bring value to you, your company, and the entire business community. Today, we are so thrilled to welcome 25 new members, and they are 58 Foundations, Better Community Housing of Trenton, Choi and Park LLC, De Lorenzo's ASP, The Image Factory LLC, End of the Earth Brand, Lehman Group LLC, Mastori's Restaurant, Minuteman Press of Ewing, New Flight Enterprises LLC, Peace Within Realty LLC, Professional Core Solutions, Rothman Institute of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, Stone Campbell Marketing, Zen Leaf, Amadeus Technologies, Arley's Raw Blends, Atlas Systems, Axis Communications, Comcast Cable Communications, one that I completely appreciate because 5 minutes before the Zoom call today, I actually had them working on my internet. So thank you, Comcast. The Einstein Alley, Leading Edge Coaching and Consulting, Stone Hill Holdings, TAB of Central New Jersey, Trenton Children's Chorus, and Within Health. Please join me in welcoming them and applauding them for their decision to join us, at least virtually. All right, and now it is my pleasure to thank our generous supporters. It is with their support the Chamber is able to bring needed programming and services to the business community. That support has been especially important during these unprecedented times. First, for our Chairman's Leadership Council, Bristol Myers Squibb, PS&G, NJM Insurance Group, Novo Nordic, Witham, Northfield Bank, Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital of Hamilton, and First Bank. And now to our Platinum sustaining sponsors. They are Wells Fargo, Fox Rothschild, Capital Health, Rue Insurance, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, TD Bank, Domain Computer Services, Thomas Edison State University, Janssen of Johnson & Johnson, Zaverman Laken, and Berkshire Bank. Please join me in thanking them for their support. We are incredibly grateful. Now, before I turn the mic over to Hal English, let me say how incredibly thrilling it was to see so many of you at our first in-person networking event. It had been almost 15 months since the start of the pandemic, and of course, many of us have learned how to connect remotely. Virtual meetings and events like today have become the norm. The joy and excitement of connecting face-to-face was a reminder of how important in-person contact is, and an absolute reminder of one of the competitive advantages of this chamber, and you can expect more. I'm still proud, though, that the chamber was able to pivot to a virtual format and still remain relevant to its members. from providing needed information on financing like loans and investments and even grants, and resources on how to market your business. Our focus on women's initiatives like the Women of Achievement program, our involvement and growth of our focus in the legislative arena, an incredible focus on diversity and inclusion with celebrations around Black History Month and last month, Pride Month. So please stay close to us, continue to encourage others to join us. We will be announcing some new, innovative, and exciting tools. And even today, as a result of some conversations we had with Catherine Kish, I believe right before the pandemic at lunch, and John, you'll hear the results of those conversations and our continued focus on bringing value to you as a community. So thank you for your faith and commitment to the work of the Chamber. We are stronger financially, and we continue to remain relevant to you and to your businesses. All right, so enjoy the rest of the program, and it's my pleasure to turn the mic over to Hal English.
Thank you, Brenda, and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our July luncheon. It's going to be an exciting one with our wonderful partners, Mercer County, and the rest of the group that you'll meet in a few minutes. It's my pleasure to thank our gold sustaining sponsors right off the bat: Princeton University, Studio Hillier, Blank Rome, Penn Medicine, Saul Ewing, Elect 825, BlackRock, HBK CPAs and Consultants, PNC Bank, Scazzari, VJ Scazzari and Sons, Cure Arena Insurance, NRG, Gordon Perlman, Investors Bank, Santander, Trenton Thunder, First Constitution Bank, St. Francis Medical Center, Buchanan, Ingersoll and Rooney, and CMA. And also thank you to our silver and bronze sponsors for staying with us in COVID, for recognizing the relevancy of the Chamber and what it does to them. And also one quick shout out to all of the sponsors for being involved, for not just writing a check and being a sponsor and getting a name on the sign, but the more you put in, the more you get out. And we have great partnerships with all these wonderful Princeton Mercer region companies. Thank you. Now it's my really distinct pleasure to present the Fred Young Champion for Business. This award that we give out monthly recognizes an outstanding business leader in the Princeton region, Princeton Mercer region, for their contribution to supporting the Chamber, while at the same time growing their business and demonstrating the values of being a good corporate citizen. This month, the award goes to Dr. Pamela Pruitt, who is the Executive Director of the Center for Diversity and Inclusion at Rider University. Dr. Pamela Pruitt is the Executive Director. She currently serves as the Chair of the Northeast Tri-State Chapter, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, of the National Association of Diversity Officers in Higher Education. Dr. Pruitt is also the President of Next Level Consulting, LLC, and provides consultation to organizations for development, marketing, and public relations strategies, which includes diversity, equity, and inclusion facilitation. Dr. Pruitt is a very, very good friend of the Chamber. Every time we call on her, she rises to the occasion. Can't thank her enough for that. And it's a distinct honor to give this award to Dr. Pam Pruitt.
Thank you, Hal, and the committee and the Chamber leadership, to the membership, along with all the others who are with us today. I am deeply humbled and honored to be receiving the Champion for Business Award. I have been affiliated with the Chamber since my arrival in New Jersey in 1998, and I have had the pleasure of serving on the marketing and diversity, equity, and inclusion committees through both of the chambers before the merger and now this one. And those particular subjects have been my passion through these years. And I very much appreciate that you have allowed me to serve the community so that my efforts on social justice may extend beyond my normal work life. It is the kind of work that needs no accolades, but after a really tough year and a half, I appreciate the light that you are shining on me today. Thank you again ever so much, everyone. I really appreciate it.
It's our honor, and thank you very, very much, Pam, for all that you do, and we know you will continue to do. Now, another distinct pleasure, because this person is also a very good friend of mine, and so was his father and his mother, and that's how old I am. It is my pleasure to introduce Anthony Carabelli Jr. Anthony serves as the director of the Mercer County Office of Economic Development. Been there a number of years. He received his Master's of Arts from the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies in Washington, D.C., and in Bologna, Italy. I hope I pronounced that right. Anthony, certainly correct me if I didn't. And his Bachelor of Science from Georgetown University School of Foreign Service, also in Washington, D.C. Anthony is a great partner of this chamber. He brings Mercer County to the table. Well recognized, he currently resides in Hamilton Township with his wife Sharon and their two children, Dominic and Dante. And he also serves as councilman of Hamilton Township, which is one of New Jersey's, I believe it is the 8th largest municipality. Anthony Carabelli.
Thank you, Hal. Thank you for that introduction. I want to congratulate you for your new role at the Chamber. I look forward to our partnership. We do a lot with the Chamber of Commerce, and I know that will continue under your leadership as we pursue economic development initiatives throughout our capital county. It brings me great pleasure to kick off today's portion of the program. We really have taken a closer look at some of the data that new Americans here in Mercer County have contributed to our economy, and just some fantastic and impressive data that was gleaned from this Gateways report. So to kick off things, our next speaker continues to build on his family's legacy of public service as the 4th person to serve as Mercer County Executive. Brian M. Hughes is implementing a vision of county government as a service engine, incorporating sound financial management, equality, and integrity to enhance the quality of life in Mercer for all Mercer residents, and including our new Americans. It is my pleasure to introduce our county executive, the Honorable Brian M. Hughes.
How are you? I appreciate the opportunity to come on tonight. Good afternoon. First, I'd like to make sure I'm unmuted, but hopefully, Anthony, you can hear me and how.
I do. You're fine.
We saw each other in person yesterday afternoon on about the hottest day of the year, but it was good to get together in person and to have see a lot of people that we haven't seen in a long time. I hope that we are coming out of a very dark period in certainly America's recent past and in Mercer County's reality. More people have been vaccinated. We have surpassed the number of vaccinations that the federal government was looking for. In Mercer County, we have about 74% of our population has gotten at least their first vaccination. And so I feel good that we are moving forward. But we certainly, and I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank our partners in this project, the New American Economy, the New Jersey Business Immigration Coalition, and certainly the Princeton, Hal, to you and everybody at the Princeton Mercer Regional Bureau. In a few minutes, you'll see the whole aspect of the report. which is an impressive report. But I'll just give you a few highlights. In 2019, foreign-born residents of Mercer County contributing a staggering $11.5 billion in total domestic product to our local economy. In addition to that, immigrants had an outside number of business startups, business CEOs, and business employees. And I don't need to tell anybody on this call how the immigrant population of Mercer County carried us through this COVID crisis with their work as essential workers in healthcare, in the food industry, in making sure our essential services were done and done well. And we can't thank our immigrant population of Mercer County enough for what they have done for all of us. Entrepreneurs have been hit especially hard by the pandemic, and 45% of the 4,100 Mercer County entrepreneurs in professional and businesses services are immigrants. I'll leave the rest of the facts and figures and information to the rest of the program. But I don't want to speak for everybody on this call, but for the immigrant population, Mercer County would not have made it through the last year and a half if we did not have a very invested, committed, strengthened immigrant community that stuck together, not only with themselves, but with the communities that they live in. And so I want to say thank you and turn the program back over. But before I do, I want to say one more accolade to our newest residents who are going to be the future of this county, of this state, and of this country. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, County Executive. So true. When we were looking through that data, our small team that we assembled, we said those same words to each other about how navigating through this pandemic, it was so important and so crucial of our new Americans here in Mercer County and the impact that they made on our economy. So now to take a closer look at that, it is now my great privilege to introduce members of the team from New American Economy, who prepared the report on the impact of immigration right here in Mercer County. Through the efforts of the New Jersey Business Immigration Coalition, Mercer County was one of only 19 communities around the country selected for this in-depth study. For those of you who are not familiar with the New American Economy, it is a bipartisan research organization advocating for smart federal, state, and local immigration policies that help grow our economy and create jobs for all Americans. With us today is the Executive Director of the New American Economy, Jeremy Robbins, and joining Jeremy will be Asma Eisa, Senior Policy Fellow at New American Economy. Jeremy, Asma, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Anthony, for the kind introduction. I know there's a lot happening in the world right now, so I'm very grateful for the time you've given and the interest you've all shown in this issue, in this report, and really committing to invest in your immigrant populations in Mercer County. Again, my name is Jeremy Robbins. I'm the Executive Director of New American Economy, and I'm joined by our Senior Policy Fellow, Asma Eisa, who will dive into some of the findings of the report in a moment. Before we get to the findings, though, I just want to say, as someone as the grandchild and great-grandchild of immigrants who fled pogroms in Russia and elsewhere, who found safety and prosperity here in America, the place that they found it was here in Mercer County. My great-grandfather came over at 16 from Russia. He was a peddler. He never graduated high school, but he seized on the opportunity that Trenton gave him, and he built a small peddling business that he grew into Finkel's department store, which for years sat on Perry Street. and was successful enough to let him bring the rest of his family and also send all 3 of his kids, not just to college, but to graduate school. One of those only in America moments. And on my father's side, his father was also an entrepreneur. He was a son of an immigrant, and his father also didn't graduate high school, but he started a grocery store on Market Street, which for years existed until the city expanded the street and he lost it. Both my parents graduated from Trenton High after they met at the Louis Kahn designed JCC. And as a kid, I have fond memories of returning to Abernethy Drive and Ritchie Place to see where they grew up and stopping at the Quaker Bridge Mall. And so Mercer County is a very central part of my own immigrant story. And I think it's something that you'll see today as Asma talks about the report is not unique in the least, right? That immigrants are continuing to bring an injection of dynamism and entrepreneurship to Mercer County today. So before turning it over to Asma, I want to give you a very brief overview of New American Economy and the Gateways for Growth program that we run to help communities like Mercer County invest in making sure immigrants and the broader communities they live in thrive and grow. Because of a very packed agenda for today, we'll be including our emails at the end of this presentation. So please feel free to reach out to myself or to Asma if you have any questions of findings of the report about the Gateways for Growth Challenge or other ways to get involved in the work. So let's dive right in. At New American Economy, we are a bipartisan research and advocacy organization looking to change the narrative around immigrants in America. When we started about 10 years ago, and in our work, we use original research to quantify exactly the impact immigrants are having in communities, every community across the country, including, of course, Mercer County. And 7 years ago, we wanted to take that data and put it into action. So we launched a state and local initiative to help the communities take this data and write concrete integration plans, come up with programs and policies that would help make immigrants more easily integrate, more easily become part of the fabric of communities, and more easily thrive. And so we now work in more than 100 communities, as diverse as Grand Forks, North Dakota, and Dallas, Texas. And one of the ways we do this is through the Gateways for Growth Challenge, where we have communities come to us and we select certain communities to give either research or technical assistance to write these plans. And so as Anthony mentioned, Mercer County was one of just 19 communities selected in our 4th cohort. So we were thrilled by the energy and the group that came together to do this work locally. And so we hope this is just the start of a conversation, that this report leads to more action, to more programs, to more policies, to more investment. And we certainly will stand with you every step of that way. So I will now pass on to Asma, who gets to share what we found in this report.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. And thank you, Anthony, for the kind introduction. I'm really happy to be here, and we're looking forward to present the findings of this report. And we're just really excited that Mercer County was one of the awardees of this year's Gateways for Growth program. So let's get to the good stuff. We're going to be talking about some of the key findings of the report. And I just wanted to note that for our purposes, when we refer to immigrants, we refer to anyone that was not born in the US and not to US citizen parents. So that does include immigrants who are naturalized US citizens, those with green cards, those here on visas, the undocumented population, refugees, and more. Next slide, please. So in Mercer County, we found that immigrants account for 23.1% of the population, which is almost double the national average of 13.6% of the population. That goes the same for the immigrant population of New Jersey overall. So we here see that New Jersey and Mercer County are quite diverse compared to the national averages of immigrant populations. Next slide, please. When looking at the population growth in Mercer County, we found that between 2014 and 2019, the overall population decreased by 0.4% in Mercer County, where the immigrant population actually increased by 9.8%. So one important conclusion to highlight from these findings is that without the growth in the immigrant population, the total population in Mercer County would have actually decreased even more by 2.5%. Next slide, please. Now, a critical part of understanding this research is also understanding who immigrants are in Mercer County and finding where they come from and what value they bring to the region. The top country of origins for immigrants in 2019 for Mercer County was India, accounting for 16.6% of the immigrant population, followed by Guatemala at 12%, China at 6.4%, Haiti at 4.9%, and 3.7% of immigrants coming from Ecuador. Next slide, please. Immigrants are having a real concrete economic impact in the area. And so we see here through the report that immigrants in the area earned 4.2 billion in 2019 alone. And from that, 415 million went to state and local taxes, and more than 916 million went to federal taxes. This left immigrants with 2.8 billion in spending power or disposable income, which can be infused back into the local economy when they shop at grocery stores, retail stores, restaurants, and more. So we see immigrants here contributing to a tax base that supports the region's infrastructure and with a solid foundation of consumer spending that can go back into the local economy. Next slide. We can also look at trends of educational attainment of immigrants over the age of 25, and the share of immigrants with post-secondary education has increased in recent years. Here we found that immigrants in Mercer County, the percent of immigrants in Mercer County that had a bachelor's degree was 23.1, and the percentage of immigrants that held an advanced degree was 18.2. Next slide, please. So when comparing this to national averages and talking about, considering how immigrants are important to contribute to the region, we all sometimes get asked, why is it important to include immigrant integration as part of the community and economic strategy for regions? And we highlight that immigrants are going to be a crucial part of any development strategy for a really simple reason. The US population is getting older. By 2065, the median age will be 42. And this is leading to major shortages across industries, across sectors, and in our workforce. Next slide, please. Immigrants can play a huge role in counteracting this. Immigrants are more likely to be of working age in Mercer County, with 82.3% being of working age versus 61% of their US-born counterparts being of working age. So in Mercer County, we found that immigrants are 34.4% more likely to be of working age than their US-born counterparts, allowing them to actively participate in the labor force and contribute to the economy. Next slide. One sector where for years we've seen chronic shortage of workers is in the STEM fields. Nationally, in 2016, there were 13 STEM job postings published online for every one unemployed STEM worker. Next slide. And then when comparing that to Mercer County, we found that in 2019, there were 17 STEM job postings published online for every one unemployed STEM worker. So these jobs have been particularly critical over the course of the past year. When these jobs go unfulfilled, companies not only are unable to expand operations or grow, but they can't innovate or adapt to quickly changing and evolving markets. Next slide. Again, this is a place where we see immigrants playing an outsized role, is in the labor force. So while the 23.1% of the population in Mercer County were immigrants, they actually make up 30.7% of the employed labor force and 49.1% of STEM workers in the county, meaning that immigrants are uniquely positioned to fill in some of these key workforce shortages that we're seeing. Next slide. As we see this reflected in the occupations that have the highest share of immigrants in their workforces. So again, keeping in mind that only 23.1% of Mercer County is foreign born, they fill up critical roles in many top industries. And the top 5 industries that we found the largest share of foreign born workers included construction, manufacturing, professional services, general services, and transportation and warehousing. Next slide. And as workers and taxpayers, we can see the huge impact that immigrants are also making to support federal entitlement programs, which is critical to note when we're talking about the aging population. So in Mercer County, we found that immigrants contributed more than 370 to Social Security and more than 111 to Medicare in 2019 alone. Next slide. To put this in national perspective, immigrants contributed 182 billion more to Medicare than they drew down between 1996 and 2011. Slide. So another area that we take particular notice to is the role that immigrants play in entrepreneurship. So immigrant entrepreneurs are driving growth. They create job creations and local economic activity. And across the country, we see that immigrants are more likely to be entrepreneurs. Next slide. Immigrant entrepreneurs are making significant contributions to both the economy and on the main streets of localities, including Mercer County. So across the country, we found that 44% of Fortune 500 companies in 2020 were founded by either an immigrant or the child of an immigrant. Next slide. When comparing this to Mercer County, we found that immigrants accounted for over 37.5% of all entrepreneurs, and they generated 144 million to business income for the county in 2019. Next slide. Another important area that we knew was important for the Mercer County was the university population. And so we found here that the international students at Princeton University accounted for 23.1% of the student body, and 32.7% of workers in colleges, universities, and professional schools were immigrants. Next slide. One of the important areas that was referenced earlier in the program was the role that immigrants play in frontline and response and the essential industries. It's a bit unique about this cohort of Gateways for Growth, which was something that we wanted to dive into and see how immigrants were playing a role in these key essential industries. And so in Mercer County, we found that immigrants played a crucial role in essential manufacturing, essential construction, essential service workers, transportation and warehousing, and food service workers. Particularly in the pandemic, this is important to take a look at and also find how it is important to support these workers and this workforce in these types of situations. Naturalization, when we take a look at naturalization in Mercer County, 45% of immigrants in Mercer County have naturalized and 15% are eligible to naturalize. And then one last data I will highlight, next slide, is the housing wealth in Mercer County. So here we see that immigrants, immigrants in Mercer County, households owned, 56.1% of immigrant households owned their own home compared to 65% of the US born, and they held a total property value of 8.5 billion. Next slide. So I'll wrap it up there, but the overall picture that these data points give is that immigrants play an important role in the community and economy of Mercer County. They keep the workforce young, boost tax bases, enlarge consumer bases, and contribute their skills to the labor and important industries and key occupations in the metro area. So on the slide is just a resource I wanted to share with everyone. It's called Map the Impact, and it's a tool that provides top-line data on all 435 congressional districts. And then on the slide here, we have the Gateways for Growth website listed if you are interested in the Gateways for Growth program and looking at past communities that were awardees and also this year's cohort that included Mercer County. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and please feel free to email either myself or Jeremy if you have any questions about the data findings of the report, the Gateways for Growth program, or the work that we do at New American Economy. And thank you for your time.
Asma and Jeremy, thank you both for collecting the data, putting it together. It is truly impressive, fascinating, whatever adjective you want to use. It really shows the great impact that our new Americans here in Mercer County play in our economy and our quality of life here in Mercer County. And I didn't know, I was unaware of Jeremy, your family roots to Trenton and to Mercer County. I was impressed to learn about that as well. So we have posted a link to the report. I just want to let everyone know the report is in the chat box. And also, as Asma mentioned, there's going to be a variety of ways to get to it, but you also can take a look at the website, New Jersey Business Immigration Coalition. We'll have it posted along with our county website. So there's going to be a variety of ways to find this information in this great report. When we were mulling over names of local people who might offer their comments on the report, we all thought that our next speaker, an immigrant herself, would be a fantastic choice. We are so pleased that she accepted. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to turn the floor over to Dr. John Ping Wang, president of Mercer County Community College, who will offer a few thoughts on the report. Thank you, Dr. Wang.
Hello. Thank you, Anthony, for your kind introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. I am so delighted to joining all of you to celebrate the rich fabric of the Mercer County immigrant population and its contribution to our regional economy. As an immigrant myself and the first Chinese American president of Mercer County Community College in its over 55 years of history and one and only Asian female president in the state of New Jersey, It gives me great pleasure to stand in front of you virtually and share with you my perspective as an immigrant and as an educational leader. Now more than ever before, we need to be proud as a nation of immigrants. Now more than ever before, we needed to embrace people from all corners of the world. Now more than ever before, we need to celebrate the incredible contributions made by immigrants from so many countries. Now more than ever before, we needed to reaffirm our commitment to continuing to be the beacon of hope for those who dare to dream, to be free and productive. I know firsthand the power of that dream because I came here many years ago. I also know firsthand the best way to realize that dream, that is through the power of education. I came as a student, and that is why I am so proud that Mercer County Community College is doing our part to open that door for so many immigrants to have a chance to achieve their dreams. Before COVID-19, the college on average served approximately 150 international students each semester. That means on average year, we serve over 300 international students on our campuses. And they came from over 40 countries and from all continents. So whenever I walk through the campus, I see a mini United Nations. Some of you may wonder why so many international students come to this community college. Well, they came because they want to have a better life, as I did. They came because this county, under the leadership of our county executive, Brian Hughes, has created a very welcoming environment of this diverse population by serving them with a variety of programs and services. They also came because colleges like us have a number of very unique programs that no one else offers, such as aviation, horticulture, nursing, culinary arts. Well, you may not know, we have people come from France to study our pastry because we have a really, really great pastry program. And I thought it would be the other way around, but we have people coming from Europe. We also have people come to play sports because Mercer County Community College has a national championship in particularly soccer and baseball, multiple times national championship. So before COVID, we had 2 brothers from Japan. And the year before, we have 2 brothers from Brazil. So we have families coming from abroad to Mercer. They came because their friends told them what a wonderful experience they had at Mercer. These international students bring to us the rich cultures from their home countries. They also help our American students to appreciate the opportunities to learn and to live in a peaceful environment. Many American students didn't realize that. They also teach our American students what hard work really means. Many American students complain about too much homework. And these international students straighten them out and say, you mean that's working hard? They sometimes even tell straight out to our American students, stop complaining, just do the work. So they really, really take opportunity very seriously. They fully participate in our student clubs because they care so very much about being part of this culture and being part of the causes we champion, such as helping the hungry, the homeless, visiting orphanages, performing in senior communities, and volunteering in vaccine clinics. In short, immigrant students add so much value to the rich campus life and the society each and every day. The college is so proud to be part of helping them achieving their American dreams. And I am so honored to be part of this movement. Together, we will continue to make America the beacon of hope for those who dare to dream. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Wang, for those inspiring remarks. You gave us a quick glimpse of your story, but also I thought it was important that you also placed a focus on the student, the immigrant student, and the importance of education that you witness every day at Mercer County Community College. And if you ever need a taste tester for those French students and the pastries that they're making, I volunteer my services.
I'm duly noted. Duly noted.
So let's proceed. Thank you, Dr. Wang. Once again, let's proceed a little bit further in our program. Immigration policy isn't just about who gets admitted to the United States, but also what happens to people after they enter our country. The United States has been fairly successful in integrating immigrants into our society, but that process isn't automatic or inevitable. It depends on how accepting and welcoming local communities are. One community in Mercer County that has done a really great job in regards to accepting our immigrant population is Princeton. We are pleased that John Heilner, chair of the Immigration Subcommittee of the Princeton Human Services Commission, is here with us today. He has agreed to share some of his thoughts on the work done by Princeton to promote full integration of immigrants into American life. So John, thank you for being with us here today. Please, your turn. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Anthony, and thanks for that introduction, and thanks to Hal and Brenda for putting together this program, and to Jeremy and Asma for the from the New American Economy for the wonderful report on Mercer County as a whole. Special thanks also to Nick Montalto and Brian Lilienthal of the New Jersey Business Immigration Coalition for really getting Princeton involved here today. And thanks to Casey for coordinating the logistics. Not an easy job. So thinking about Princeton, back in the 1990s, we began to realize that the healthy integration of immigrants into our community was really essential. We began to see more and more folks who had fled danger and violence in their home countries, especially Central America, Mexico, and at that time, Colombia, before the peace accords there. And the first actors to get involved were really some of our nonprofits, our YWCA, our Arts Council, and so on. But unfortunately, as most of you know, all of you know, our nation has had a broken immigration system, as I call it, for many, many years. Presidents of both parties have tried to reform it without much success. And basically what we have now is a situation where our demand for labor greatly exceeds the number of visas that are available. So this led to federal ICE, that's Immigration Customs Enforcement raids here in Princeton. At that time, this was back in 2004, another nonprofit, the Latin American Legal Defense and Education Fund, was created in response. They've gone on to have many programs in youth education, legal advice, and advocacy for immigrants. And you can read the details of that and also of our municipality in the report that was provided, but I'll just give a few of the highlights of the report. This all started in 2013, actually, when our Princeton Police Department did a survey in both Spanish and English, and they got 0 Latino replies. So the police department realized there was a problem. And they caused them to, this caused the police department to really step up its efforts to do outreach. And we had a new police chief, Nick Sutter, who's since just retired last fall. He became police chief in 2013, and he wanted to do something about it. So the first thing he did was issue what's called a police directive that instructed all Princeton officers not to take part in federal immigration enforcement. He wanted to make it clear that their job was public safety, and that was it. And this really was to improve the immigrant community's trust in the police department to come forward as victims or as witnesses to crime. And it's now interesting that 4 years later, back in November of 2018, actually, our New Jersey State Attorney General issued a very similar directive to all law enforcement agencies throughout the state. It's called the Trust Directive. So I'll skip through some of what's in the paper, but basically in 2014, our Human Services Commission established an immigration subcommittee to assist with outreach and services to low immigrant residents. We wanted to make sure that they knew their rights, that they had protection from wage theft, and that we could help people connect to needed services. Our Human Services Director, actually assisted by the police department, successfully mediated many wage theft disputes, and this again helped to build trust. In 2014, we passed a landscapers ordinance, and it requires that all landscapers working in the town acknowledge that they understand federal and state wage and theft laws, wage and hour laws that have been around since about 1938, actually, and provide workers' compensation. And we're currently working to strengthen that. So I see I'm running out of time. Again, you'll see the details. But in 2015, we did a bunch of things to become more integrated into national networks, joining Welcoming America. We called on we passed a resolution that asked the state of New Jersey to provide driver's licenses to undocumented residents so they could get to work and take their kids to school. And this finally was passed and was just implemented in May of this year. And finally, in COVID, we've seen our Director of Human Services, our nonprofits, and many others step up to really help those who do the essential work and may be undocumented, but really take care of them, make sure they have the assistance they need when others were not providing that assistance. And so it's been kind of a virtuous circle. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Thank you for your comments today, for describing Princeton's commitment to all its residents, and for highlighting the importance of immigration integration as a public policy issue. To conclude today's program on immigration, I'd like to call and introduce our next speaker, Catherine Kish. Catherine serves as the Executive Director of Einstein's Alley, and the organization is one of the founding organizational members of the New Jersey Business Immigration Coalition. And I gotta be honest with everyone, between Catherine and Nick Montalto, they did a fantastic job of keeping us on point during this whole process as we came up and did a deeper dive into the new Americans impacting Mercer County. So to tell you a little bit more about the coalition, I'd like to turn it over to Catherine Kish.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
Great. The report introduced today features bios of local immigrants, including former West Windsor Mayor Xing Fouché and Capitol Health CEO Al Magazi. Their lives and work illustrate the importance of immigration to Mercer County. We at the New Jersey Business Immigration Coalition, whose members include the Princeton Mercer Chamber and the Mercer County Community College, along with Einstein's Alley and many others, we are proud to have provided much of the effort behind winning the Gateways grant to produce this report awarded to Mercer County and the Princeton Mercer Chamber. Well, what is the New Jersey Business Immigration Coalition? It is a membership organization that brings together business, higher education, and economic development leaders who recognize that immigrants strengthen New Jersey's economy. It also brings together those who wish to create conditions to attract, retain, and integrate immigrants into our labor force and communities, the kind of work that John just described. We also sponsor the Immigrant Entrepreneur Awards, and this is the 9th year of those awards. If you wish to nominate someone, or even yourself, please go to our website where you'll find the nominations forms. Today, we have heard that immigrants bring talent, creativity, and enterprise to New Jersey. And we know that the policies and laws governing immigration must change with the times. They need to be reasonable and flexible. We want to increase opportunities for immigrants to enter the United States workforce and for talented international students, the kind that John Ping described, to stay in the United States to work so that we can attract and keep the best, the brightest, and the hardest working from all over the world who will strengthen our economy. On behalf of Dr. Nicholas Montalto, the coordinator of NJBIC, and all of its members, we would welcome you joining our effort. Join as an organization or as an individual. There's no fee to be a member. You just need to support our mission and goals. The slide on the screen gives you our contact information, NewJerseyBusinessImmigration.org. We look forward to having you as a member. Thank you.
Wow, Catherine, thank you very much. And all I could say is, wow, thank you to all the speakers. Get that report. If anyone, after seeing what we just saw, doesn't believe immigration is a really, really serious issue in our economy. And boy, to be able to target those billions of dollars for local businesses would be phenomenal. It's something we certainly have to do. But what a great presentation. Thank you. And special thank you to Anthony Carabella Jr., who just was an outstanding MC. Without him and Casey, we wouldn't be able to juggle this and do this, and it's right on time. So now it's my pleasure. Every month, as you probably know, we do a nonprofit benefit exchange announcement. We sort of highlight a nonprofit, and we do that because they're so important to us and to the community, and the leaders of these nonprofits certainly have their ears to the ground. And know what's going on, so that if we as businesses are listening to them, it certainly helps us all. Ielts Incorporated is our monthly nonprofit benefit exchange. Founded in 1981, Ielts is a community development and environmental organization based in Trenton, New Jersey. They have a mission to foster self-reliant families and healthy, sustainable communities. They design and develop effective services that support their mission, and they share what they learn with others to make a difference. I'm taking a tour of Ielts next week. I cannot wait to do that. I had a tour in 90 with Marty Johnson, and what phenomenal growth and need there is in the community for Ielts. So thank you, and good to support Ielts. And then upcoming chamber events, we have a pitch stop. So our pitch stop is on July 13th at 5:30 to 8:30 at the Grounds for Sculpture. This is our Innovation and Entrepreneurial Council. And you'll learn the anatomy of the pitch. It's almost like a Shark Tank. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's indoor, large facility. It'll be COVID safe for anyone worried. Live and in person again. It'll be our second in person again. You heard our chair, Brenda, talking about how wonderful the first event was. This one will be even better. Everyone said it was like a high school reunion. Where have you been? They haven't seen you in 18 months, and no surprise there. And then the next one is our virtual speed networking. We're going to, at the chamber, try and do a combination, as we had said to you, of hybrid, of virtual and of live to see how it goes. So that's a speed networking that you don't want to miss, because they're an awful lot of fun. And then our business summit, global to local. This one is really, really, really key. This one will be on Thursday, July 15th. This is pretty serious. We have a keynote speaker, Melanie Willoughby. If now more than ever, the impacts of the local supply chain and the global supply chain was ever an issue, it is now try and buy some lumber or anything virtually. Very, very serious issue. So you'll learn about the trends in foreign investment in New Jersey particularly, and where the opportunities for growth are in investment. You're going to come away with unique insights into the future of business and the impact global trade has locally here in Princeton Mercer. So very exciting to announce that. And now, networking, please join us. Those that I know were right a little bit behind, maybe right on schedule. Those that would like to join us, you'll see in the chat below a networking link. Join us over at networking and let's do some local business. Thank you very, very much.